Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience. We are now live. Sorry for the hiccup right there. Looks like we had a couple of issues going on with Twitch. Not really sure. So if you're coming over from Twitch, thanks for your patience and thank you for joining us. Really excited to have everybody here for today's developer update. I am brought with man of the hour, Mark at Laughivore, founder of PlayFusion and of Ascendant. How are we doing today, Mark?
Very good in you, Jay. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
This is everyone's show here, just as much as the community. They've been waiting for some time now to hear some things about what's going on behind the scenes. Some insiders may know, but we only have a select few of them. So this is for everybody to really get caught up on what's happening around the world of Ascendant, what we've learned along the way since our closed beta back in April, and super, super, super excited to really show you everyone what's going on in the world of Ascendant. Mark, before we move on, let's learn a little bit more about you. Tell me a little bit more about yourself, your background. Yeah, would love to let the community know who you are.
How much time do you have?
Let's hear what started you in gaming. Let's start with that. I think that's what everyone starts at.
Yeah, I mean the short version is I've been making games since I was 7. That's quite seriously, that's 40 years off and on.
40 years young. I love it.
Indeed. Yeah, so self-taught programmer, doing BASIC on the Commodore 64, and kind of just evolved across platforms as our industry evolved. Yeah, for me it was always a hobby, making games that I like to play, for myself and for friends. It was never really business, but it's one of those things. If you're passionate about it, life finds a way of bringing you back to it.
Yeah.
Maybe the most recent and relevant, I think, is probably having run Jagex for a few years, the makers of RuneScape, and I've done a couple of cool things there, HD and old school, and even like FunOrb, a minigame portal we had created. Had a huge amount of fun there, and then left with the kind of core team that makes up PlayFusion today. So PlayFusion's a employee-owned business. Pretty much most of us have been working together some 15 years or more, and pretty much all of us met when we were working together at Jagex.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. 40 short years later, now we get to see a hobby now become like a full-time like experience role for like some people. So how much has changed is incredible, and it's great to have people like yourself who paved the way to get us to where we are right now. Especially as a studio as tight knit as we are. You brought people all the way over from RuneScape back over here, and even like I know that we've got like people from like GoldenEye, from the N64, like you mentioned, right? We've got people from there.
Yeah. Our Derby studio is the guys at Core Design, that I think became Eurocom. So it had done Tomb Raider, GoldenEye, Batman: Arkham Asylum, a ton of other really cool games. And I think they joined us or became part of the family in 2012. So even that team is now kind of well over a decade.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably why we also felt comfortable, confident, maybe even cocky enough to kind of move beyond MMOs into kind of this new fusion of the world we're creating with Ascendant, which is kind of the very best of that's kind of persistent social gameplay that you get in something like RuneScape, as well as for us some a contemporary shooter, new genre that we've wanted to create. I think if we didn't have this experienced team and years of work, years of trust and working together and kind of working our way through some of the toughest times, we probably wouldn't have been brave enough, crazy enough to do what we have done these past few years now. I mean, probably approaching 4 years
Yeah.
working on the same.
It's a long time right there. You talked a lot about where everyone's come from and where a lot of risk is from an MMO to a first person shooter. What's the inspiration behind Ascendant? I'm terrible at math, but I know you lived through the 80s. So is this like all nostalgia? Is this just like a passion of remembering glory days specifically?
It's a few things, but and I fully appreciate, that many, if not most, of our players were probably not even conceived in the 80s. They
I
were,
certainly wasn't.
yeah. So but I think what we realized with RuneScape Old School, where you could have said the same thing, that was a tape backup from August 2007. That is now absolutely huge, but probably the majority of what the RuneScape community plays. Um, I, I kind of think it's a little bit like vinyl. I think again, not everyone who really appreciates vinyl was there when it had its debut. But there's a beauty to it. There's a authenticity to it, and it's certainly got its own. In the case of vinyl, clearly its own sound, distinct
Hmm.
sound. I think for me the 80s, kind of building on that. I think we kind of look at nostalgia in a really cool way. Like there's an authentic patina to the time that we're trying to capture. I think it's not a homage. It's not an art or history example of the 80s. We've obviously kept it fun and playful, and we've still innovated a bit. So it's kind of retro futuristic. We've borrowed a lot from the 80s, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But we've also kind of imbued it with some really cool futuristic elements, specifically the biopunk look and feel that we're going for. But for me, the 80s, I guess when I was growing up in the 80s, is probably going to be the age of most of our players,
Hmm.
kind of uh, uh, late teens and into 20s. And, to me, that was it was just such a beautiful, vibrant, bright, hopeful time. You could kind of be anything. Everything was big. The music was big. The hair was big. Everything was just big. And it was bold, and it was expressive and playful. And I just think, again, we play games, and specifically we make games, to kind of be a better version of our current reality, to be an escape, a world we want to spend our time in, and play with like-minded people. And I kind of feel like a lot of the 80s captures some of the best of where we're as a society and what we're trying to kind of breaking
Hmm.
through. If you kind of like, if you go way back, if you think like, if 70s were all about, love and LSD and, kind of mind expanding discovery, then, the 80s was kind of like, hey, you could be anything if you just worked hard enough. And, perhaps even one of my like inspirations in that, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, you kind of got this Austrian guy with a thick accent, who goes on to kind of become Mr. Universe, and then like the most well-paid actor in Hollywood, and then the
Hmm.
governor of California, and kind of. But I think it all sprung from the '80s, where like anything was possible. Like if you kind of just did the work, and
Hmm.
um, you could be a rock star, you could be anything if you wanted it enough. I think was the spirit of it,
Yeah.
and I think that's a really cool construct for a game, for a universe.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I know many of our community, the ones that we interact with on the community team, and when we constantly reach out to people, people just gush over the 80s aesthetic. People, I think, right now we're in that era of reminiscing about the 80s, right? Like our music has really stemmed a lot from it. We've got, really great, cinema with like Stranger Things taking us back.
Mm.
So it feels really good to be in a place where gaming is now in this like 80s, not necessarily time zone, but of inspiration. And you could really feel the spirit and soul. Um,
Yeah,
Speaking of spirit and
yeah,
soul, let's,
and
oh,
like
actually.
without getting too political, I think also like if you think climate change and microplastics, forever chemicals, wars. Kind of like the '80s was like before all of that, right? Before we knew
Hmm.
kind of how we're kind of screwing up the planet and often misbehaving to our fellow humans
Hmm.
and so again I think like I almost want to like if I could hit a rewind button and say hey let's go from here and then let's see if we can kind of not do some of those things and really obviously Ascendant is an alternate reality. We're picking a point in time. We're taking a lot of the themes of the world today and some of the challenges that face the planet, and then kind of being playful with that in kind of in a parallel universe. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool to see what the team have done.
Oh, absolutely. Playful is selling it short. We've got giant snails that are like twice the size of me. So, but in the spirit of things, actually, let's move on to the next part of today's stream. So we have an agenda, guys. Over the past few weeks, from early access, not early access, closed beta, sorry. We've learned a lot and we've made a lot of changes. So let's go ahead and take a look right into what it is that we'll be talking about in today's agenda. So three main key topics here. We're going to be looking at closed beta feedback. So back in April, we had our kind of like our pants down moment, right? Like everyone could finally see who we are. And this was a really great opportunity to really show everybody what our game is to so many creators and so many players, and receive everything from positive to mixed to even like harsh opportunities that we need to come to. And we're going to be addressing that. Road to early access. So as we get closer and closer to this undetermined, unannounced date that we haven't given out yet, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be working on. We want to share what's in store for Ascendant, try to make things as I guess as pretty as possible for you, but along the way, even bring along some really fun experiences in terms of events, new things that you may not be aware of, and some things that you probably expect. And then lastly, currently in development, this will be a very short, very brief teaser. We don't want to give everything away just yet, but we're going to have some good stuff to get started with. So, Mark, you ready to kick this off?
Absolutely, let's go.
All right, awesome. So, we're going to bring together this fantastic thing called a Google slide deck. So, performance. During our closed beta, we had a lot of feedback around this. Performance was widely talked about. Mark, can you give us a little bit of context of what we saw with performance here?
Yeah, so and maybe also like a small preamble. One of the things I and the team even wrestle with a lot is to what extent we stay in stealth as we had been these past 4 years and just keep making the world experience we want to make, versus our instinct, our nature is let's build it with the community. I think one of the things I'm most proud of at Jagex with RuneScape was the kind of introducing the power to the players, player polls around features, and really having them understand that we're making a game for them. I mean, obviously we'll make a game we want to play as well, but it ultimately this game is for the community and for us to build an awesome world and community together, and so there's always a tension between wait till it's perfect or wait till you think it's perfect versus it's probably good enough to give people a window into the world and start getting feedback and shaping it. So we with that we knew that we're putting in a lot of art really quick. We had spent the first few years essentially we just using placeholder art, really focusing on the game mechanics, the balancing, the competitive integrity, and obviously we then realized very quickly we're going to need to art the world and start showing people also the universe. It can't just be in our heads. And so we had this kind of confluence of events where we were ramming in a lot of content, new assets, high quality, high poly assets, for the first time to kind of make it look really representative of where we want to take this world. At the same time, there's the natural consequence of that is you're introducing variables and you're increasing your graphic budget and CPU time and all of that. So, I think there was always a risk around this. We have a lot of you probably wouldn't be surprised to hear a lot of high end development machines in the office, and for most of us, it was playing really well. But again, that's the point of the beaters is you all of a sudden start realizing what everyone else is also running on, and I mean, for example, one of the regrets we had in the office is we didn't actually have a single AMD CPU. It was all Intel and NVIDIA, things like that. So, as soon as you get into the wild, you start experiencing, the real landscape that you're going to experience. And obviously we're a bit bummed that not all our players got the very best experience in terms of frame rates and stuff. But there's pretty much no bigger priority in the team right now than kind of working around optimizing all of this. There's a blend of issues from we're using like the latest Unreal Engine, which has some issues with some very specific ATI graphics cards and things like that. But yeah, there's a huge amount of focus around just optimizing the meshes and will partitioning, streaming, memory churn, and all of that stuff. Which is, again, it's something you always do in the process. The question was just, again, do you do it right at the end, quietly, in stealth, or do you kind of get to see if people actually like what you built so far, and then you do it in parallel? And we kind of chose that we'd rather be out there with the community from as early as possible, and kind of make this experience together. I think at the end of the day, we want them to love what we're made. So you can't be in a vacuum for too long.
Absolutely. And the amount of progress, internally, right? I've seen all of it, but there's even some players who've seen the game back when we had like mushroom trees, is what we would call them.
Yeah,
The amount of art that's just gone in is both so fascinating, so terrific. It really shows a unique, post-apocalyptic meets that 80s aesthetic. And as far as those biomes that we've seen, whether you've played the game or seen our trailers, it's just constantly evolving. But it's great to hear, and I hope this reaches everyone a little bit concerned about our frame rate opportunity here, that we're dedicated to it, performance above all else,
yeah,
and we just press forward. So I think we can
yeah.
move on
And
from.
again, on performance, there's this. It's not like it's an unknown. So it's not like if will we ever get there? There's a very clear set of things we're working through very diligently, and it's just a matter of getting through all of them in order to have this great experience across all the players have played so far's devices. Obviously, every time we do these betas, we get great telemetry, we get crash logs and things like that. So we get to see exactly where they've been stalling on frame rate or where crashes happened, and it's just a matter of just working through it, which is a bit of a, it's a bit of a slog. I can tell you the team are working super hard and have been for weeks, and will continue to. And it's only at that point that we're really happy that we'll kind of pick the next beta date. But I'm quietly confident and hopeful that's in a few short weeks. But obviously, again, not until we're feeling very, very happy about the current issues some people experience being resolved.
I'm glad to hear it. That's really exciting. We identified like some users who had like some cards that were really great entry points. Like right here, the 3600s with AMD. I'm an actual AMD user myself, and I'm excited to see that like more users will finally be able to experience what we truly envision with Ascendant in terms of overall experience, gameplay, performance, all on top. On to the next topic here. We've got clear objectives. So, TLDR, right?
That's helpful.
TLDR. We had some people who kind of didn't really understand what to do in Ascendant. We just saw people saying like right here, I don't know where to go. I don't know what the objective is, and there's plenty of opportunity here that we've seen. Similarly with performance, like we all see it. Talk to us a little bit more about the sentiment here and how we're going to be moving forward with making the objective and overall team play experience even better.
Yeah, spot on. It's actually remarkably simple in that the game is, like an extreme evolution of capture the flag, right? We've obviously introduced the event-driven gameplay, which means you kind of adapt to new events, but in its simplest form, it should be super straightforward in one of the kind of original shooter game modes. Um, I think this is a perfect example of what I was saying earlier, where internally, obviously, most of us have played the same game thousands of times now, and so we're always looking at like what else can we telegraph and give players tactical information to make better decisions. But again, you kind of can't unsee something once you've seen it, and there is no better fresh eyes than people who quite simply have never played the game, and kind of learning that some of the things again we took for granted, or had seen and worked around 3 years ago, are issues for people today. So this is for us. This body of work is just very much about onboarding, kind of lowering the friction to kind of learn some of the systems and kind of key gameplay elements. So it should just be intuitive at the end of the day, and hopefully self-evident and more situational, appearing when you kind of need it or experience it for the first time, rather than the kind of perhaps cognitive overload that you might experience initially when there's just so much information on the screen at one time. So I think there's just being clearer, less or less is more. It's a big part of the focus now.
Yeah, and with the focus comes with new ways that we try to onboard, like you mentioned earlier, onboard players to really capture not just the essence of the game, but like the progress, the purpose of the game. There's so much to do everywhere in Ascendant, from just playing in the lobby, hanging out with your friends, and just getting into a game of hide and seek, to just jumping straight into Harmony, going in, getting ready to steal some biocores. Right here we're seeing like a lot of new ways we're trying to implement these new educational, more accessible ways to teach players on how to move forward. So like new tutorial, creating an entirely new onboarding experience, and shop tutorial. So we saw a lot of feedback saying like, I don't know what to do. And we also saw on the back end, like, some people were just using the shops like we had hoped they'd wanted to. So rallying a lot of time and development time and effort into building out a robust, cohesive, and fun onboarding experience.
Yeah, spot on. And I would say you could quite literally split the studio in half. I would say, pretty much all the tech folk, engineers, tech artists, and stuff are working on performance, and then pretty much content and asset creation and animation and everything else are focused on this kind of early onboarding, tutorial, lobby, starting experience, and just making sure that's a really smooth experience. It, from into the game all the way into queuing for the game.
Mm-hmm. And other points to just quickly point out over here, we're redoing a couple of things at the tutorial. So most people are probably familiar with talking to Chatty Catty Gibby next to the Earth Tree. We're going to be changing how the player is not just going through the onboarding experience, but even just onboarding missions should feel a lot more organic and more educational for you. And NPC match queuing, we're going to help players get into matches quicker by letting them play with against NPCs.
Yeah, and I think the idea again is just shorter queue times. NPCs are one of the alternatives. And I think we're looking to offer players choice, whether they want to be supplemented with an NPC versus potentially two people deploying a squad instead of three, and then maybe there's some kind of stats perks boosts that they get, just so that it's fair from competitive integrity standpoint. So, again, trying to provide as much choice and flexibility so players can kind of play it their way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see everyone figure out how to play the game, because I was definitely one of those people who had like some teammates who just really didn't know what to be doing. They would be off fighting snails, getting destroyed by gore lizards, absolutely smashed into like a donut or something like that. I'm not sure what was going on, but hopefully, and I'm actually really excited to see it. Players really retain a lot of this information, and create new experiences, make more friends, not enemies this way.
More memories, exactly.
More memories.
More great memories.
Moving forward, gunplay and movement. So this was something that was a bit of everything, right? From weapons that feel like they had weight to them. It felt janky, inconsistent. Animations need more polish. The movement felt slow, unresponsive, or awkward. So, tell us a little bit more about how we're approaching gunplay and movement, and how we're reacting to this feedback right here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great one where, until uh, your players play it, you don't really know what they think or how they're going to perceive it. It's also what you have up here is quite literally some of the quotes or comments we'd received. We're always obviously asking at every stage for more feedback because we want to make a better experience for everyone. Sometimes it's tricky to also decode exactly what that means, and what might feel um, uh, uh, inconsistent for one is fine for another. But we put a huge amount of focus here. Even one of our producers, David, has joined the animation team to kind of really zero in on some of this. So yeah, there's a lot more. I guess we've moved from the focus around competitive integrity and the systems and the balancing to more now the gameplay and that kind of kinetic feeling, really feeling connected with the game and your weapon and your character or your avatar. I'm actually really excited about the work the guys are doing here. I've seen a lot of it. It's come a very long way. It's super cool, and I think our players are going to be very happy by the time we get to our next playtest.
Yeah, and we can give them a bit of an insight on the upcoming changes that we're doing to not necessarily just gunplay, but the experience on how you perceive gunplay, because there's a lot of factors, as you mentioned, that can't exactly define why gunplay or movement feels specifically this way or that way. For example, like there's a lot of variables that come into play, such as server tick rates, player to play, like peer to peer, server peer to server, bandwidth, and even just this is your first time playing our game, and if you're somebody who gave us feedback that our gunplay was bad, but you only played one game, we want you to try and give us more feedback on that. But that's not to say you left the game because you think our gunplay needs to be better. So we are observing how gunplay changes are being made, like through a microscope, honestly. Not a lot of changes necessarily to the actions that you do, but things that should make the gunplay feel significantly more dynamic. Right here, more dynamic animations overall. Completely reworked gunfire animations, especially whenever it comes to dynamic recoil animations as well. So whenever you swap out like different types of mags, if you go from light ammo to heavy ammo to even energy ammo, you should feel through your mouse, that real raw crunchiness that you expect from a really big futuristic gun.
Yeah,
Sprinting.
exactly. I mean, I think every sense. Touch, sight, sound, and hopefully something in your gut as well.
Yeah.
Again, you just really captured it perfectly. So much of this has actually just been completely reworked, and it is now really, really cool. So, still more to do, but the team and I are really happy with the direction of travel here.
hmm I'm particularly happy about the increased movement, the walking movements a little bit slightly. We're not making changes to how fast you run, but we are making a slight tune to just make walking your default movement just a little bit faster, and it should change the way things operate entirely throughout your entire experience. But
Yeah, I think it's a bit more satisfying. I think again, maybe it's just us as society. We're all just a bit impatient, and we all want to get there a bit quicker, right?
oh,
Um,
oh,
and
I have the shift key like slammed with my pinky every time I'm playing this game. Like I'm just constantly sprinting. I don't even remember if I walk, if I'm being honest. Trying to get
exactly.
straight
Why
to it.
would you?
All right.
Why walk when you can run?
Exactly. All right. So I think that just about wraps up this portion of our segment whenever it comes to community feedback from our closed beta. Those were just the three main priority topics that we wanted to share. There's been so much feedback that addresses that we want to address and that will be changed. So top of my head, Gore Lizard Commander events. Everyone was like, "Dude, this thing is too tough. This thing is broken. This thing is built like Mark." We're toning it down. We're toning Mark down. He's too OP. To what capacity or degree, though, that will be determined at another time. So we'll have an announcement about that. But expect changes to not just what you saw on this stream right now, but to many facets. And we're going to go through a couple more things as to what does that look like going forward. And going forward, we don't exactly have a roadmap that we've explicitly shared. I don't think we can put anything that says tomorrow we are going to add Conmeal, one of our community managers, into the game. We don't have specific dates on that, but we still want to give you a glimpse into what it is that Ascendant will strive to achieve, but also let you know what it is that at a framework and philosophy level, how we approach things in the game that might be a little bit different to what you might have expected from a game that's all about progression. So let me switch over to this next presentation slide that I have here. Seasons and battle passes. So really big topic right here, because every game these days has a season pass, a battle pass, or some sort of functional seasonality to the game that it can get a little bit overwhelming depending, how much you're being charged for specific items, and is it like pay to win? And if you're able to read what I have on screen here, you'll see that we're not a pay to win game. Everything is purely cosmetic when it comes to our battle passes. And the stores that we'll be introducing later in the future. Can you talk to us a little bit more about how we approach seasonality in our battle pass, Mark?
Yeah, again, you kind of took the words out of my mouth.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder. My bad.
No, all good, all good. Just the guiding principle of the studio is competitive integrity. I think we perhaps even made a controversial decision about making a premium game in a world of free-to-play games. Really the driver behind that was competitive integrity. We feel that if the business's interests are always motivated on trying to upsell boosts and perks, it's gonna cross over. It's gonna contaminate the competitive integrity at some point, and it pretty much always does. If you look at the rest of our industry, so for us, it was thinking, if we take the approach of a premium game up front, then yeah, absolutely, all the seasonal battle pass, additional kind of perks that we're thinking about will be, either personalization stuff, cosmetic stuff, lifestyle stuff. Absolutely nothing that comes to the kind of fairness of the game in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, even to the extent of if people join a few seasons late and come in at season 5, we kind of make sure we catch them up. So they're kind of always at the same place as everyone else. That type of stuff is really, really important to us.
Yeah, no FOMO here at Ascendant. And just to reiterate, premium, for those who may not understand what that means, is that Ascendant will be a game that you will need to purchase whenever we launch. And that increases the visibility on us again with season passes, battle passes, that kind of thing. But we don't want to give anyone an advantage just because they spend money with us. So we'll put it on the table here right now. There is nothing in the store we will be offering that will increase your performance for Ascendant.
Correct.
Awesome. Going over into ranked play here. Now, we're not going to talk a lot about this. We're actually going to be scheduling another developer stream specifically around ranked play, skill-based matchmaking, our anti-cheat, and a couple of other things as well. But ranked is absolutely something that we are considering. Competitive integrity is a big part of the core experience with Ascendant, but ranked is always ranked, right? You come in there to sweat and want to make a complete impact on people's livelihood mentally, and also put your nice name at the top of that leaderboard there. But some things I can share quickly with y'all is that ranked is more objective focused compared to casual lobbies. In this case, there's a lot more risk and reward in ranked on the things that you can achieve inside of ranked play. And as far as what I could share going further, I can't. So just know that in ranked, you are not going to win a game just by pressing W and going kablamo holding left click. There's a lot of stuff going in there. So we'll talk a little bit more about that at another time whenever we get one of our lead producers on to talk more about that with us. A couple other things on the roadmap. UI localization. This one I'm super excited for because we've got players from all over the world. I'm talking from China. I'm talking about from Australia. Oh, actually, you don't think you need a localization in Australia, do you? South America, and even other places that just aren't exactly like caught up right now with our with English language. So I'm really excited to see localization come into the game. Controller support. It's controller support, right? You plug in that Xbox controller, plug in that PlayStation controller. Joy-Cons confirmed from Nintendo Switch. Mark, by chance, do you know?
I can't confirm or deny, but
all right. Joy-Cons for Ascendant. We're putting it in right now.
I hope controller support's already, or development's already well underway. It'll be on PC first, but again, the intention there is to have Ascendant on PlayStation and Xbox for sure sometime next year. And obviously we love the folks at Nintendo, so we kind of need to see, but the game is very demanding as it is, so we need to kind of see how far we can go. But eventually I would expect that Ascendant is on everything. There will also far further out also be a mobile experience, and that'll be actually quite different to the current game, but I'll leave that for a future chat.
Yeah, for sure. And then to finish off, some other things that are in the roadmap. We talked about the NPC matches and the NPC queuing. That will be a part of the roadmap experience. It's something that's not quite finished just yet, but it's being implemented. I have played against the bots, and I have... How should I put this? I have died to the bots. It is embarrassing, and this is me being vulnerable with y'all guys, so don't make fun of me in Discord, guys. I'm begging you, please. And then lastly, more mini games, lobby arcade machines coming inside of the lobby. So really cool stuff that's happening in the lobby.
Yeah, a jukebox. We're in the process of licensing some awesome 80s tracks, power ballads, and some air guitar stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. There's
Dude.
a lot
Find me air guitaring in the lobby. Something that's not listed on here is I didn't have enough room. There's a lot of stuff here that I couldn't fit it, but for the lobby, I know that we are actually experimenting a little bit with third-person cameras in the lobby exclusively. So you'll be able to get a full view of your character. Just experimental right now. I think I don't know, Mark, do you know if that's actually going to make its way in game? I know that I saw a cool
it's
little...
meant to be in game. Our original plan was always that the social... for the designers described it as there's the calm and the crazy. The calm being the kind of social lobby and the crazy being the game map. And so our thinking was, for the calm was always that would be third person. It would feel more MMO like, and obviously, I think it's for shooters, the first person perspective is optimal. So it's there's a few things to work out, but again, a lot of work has gone into that, and I'm quite excited to see where that's going now.
Yeah, me
I
too.
don't think it'll be long.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I love the way my character looks. I genuinely cannot wait to just not play the game and just have my character constantly like looked at. All right, moving forward on a roadmap, we've got a couple of other things that I want to bring up regarding that roadmap. So, Insider Program. If you're unfamiliar with the Insider Program, it is the how should I put this? It's basically our community first program where we take in players who are just absolutely passionate about Ascendant and give us feedback about the game. So when we launch, we'll have a lot of channels that will take in feedback and apply and address changes based off of. I'm pretty sure it'll come down to new updates, new changes, maybe even bugs that we might run into in the future. But the Insider Program is the closest way right now that we can bring in players to try out the latest and greatest when it comes to Ascendant. So if you become an insider, you'll be able to access bi-weekly feature build playtests. And these playtests are actually going to be every other week, like I mentioned, but also they're going to be the most updated version of Ascendant. Things are expected to break here. This is not a open beta. It is not a closed beta. It is a private experience exclusively for those passionate about Ascendant. There's weekly playtests, so we've been doing this thing with creators where we just say, hey, you want to come try out Ascendant? And we might need a couple of insiders to kind of help fill those lobbies, so you'll get some chances to play. And then the direct feedback to devs. So we're going to have players, insiders particularly, try out new things that are happening in these feature builds and then just let us know what they think about it. Is there anything that was fun about this experience? Is there anything that you would change about it? Direct communication to our devs. So we'll make quick adjustments following the next feature build. And this weekend is our very first feature build. I'm super excited to let everyone here is seeing what we're planning, but insiders will get to see it live themselves. How to join though is pretty simple. If you join our Discord, we actually have a registration link inside there where you can just go to a forum, input the information, press buttons, talk about how much you love us, that kind of thing, and then what will happen is we choose specific. Yeah, we're gonna choose.
Tell us how much you love us. I think. I mean, really, what we'd love to know is a bit more about you and just the type of stuff you like. So as we're creating feature builds, we make sure we kind of get the right people in for some of the stuff we're working on. But I would also say perhaps most importantly out of all of us is sign up on the website, Ascendant.com, because from there kind of all promos, comms, special VIP stuff also happens. So certainly please do join Discord and everything else, but first and foremost I would say sign up for updates on Ascendant.com.
Yeah, definitely. All of that is going to be going straight from like our newsletters, blog posts, everything that you can imagine. And with insiders here, just to kind of like put it together, these players will also be hand selected, not because of just giving us a lot of really nice, words of encouragement, but also because each build is going to have to meet some specific criteria. So registration won't always guarantee you a spot in the insider program, but we will be constantly increasing the amount of players inside of the program just to make sure we meet a cohesive experience first, ensure that the next build that comes around is available to a wider audience depending on their PC builds, and as well as a couple of other things that are listed inside of the survey. So register at our Discord if you haven't, and if you have, just keep an eye out on your Discord messages. You'll see a Discord notification from me, and that'll be about it for the Insider program. All right. So new events. When it comes to new events, events are like a big part, like a really, really big part of Ascendant. We've got some really cool stuff going on in the realm of things that changed the map. So, like something that I think a lot of people are used to when it comes to live service games is they'll play the game, wait 3 months, and then that 3 months is up, and now the map has to be changed dynamically to fit specific lore, specific themes, and that's great. But what I love about our events is that we constantly try to include different ways with our singular map to play and experience and change the variety of outcomes. Talk to us a little bit more about what's going on with these new events. We've got Lightning Strike, Wind Vortex, Roots.
Yeah, the again, the some of our own frustration in playing competitive shooters is, very quickly, if you're going to preserve competitive integrity, you can't have random stuff. It needs to be pretty well defined and prescriptive so everyone has a fair chance. And at the same time, very quickly it gets boring. And so we're like, how do we make a super competitive shooter that you would want to be playing 10, 20 years from now? And that was really where we kind of said, hey, we'll make this an adaption shooter. So there'll be these insane events that you can really, leverage to optimize your experience or avoid, because you realize it's gonna you might maybe having a bad day if you go head to head with one of these things. And so we were like, well, yeah, okay, event-driven game, but what does that mean? And we're like, well, there should be insane events. Actually, at the end of the day, whilst the map doesn't change, we really want it to be evident that something has changed in this map or something new is available for you to explore. And there's a really cool game director that the team had built a few years ago that looks at all sorts of really cool stuff, like not just your team composition, but stuff you've seen before, to kind of make sure that almost no game will feel the same twice. And I try to remember exactly how many are live right now. I think it's like 58. We've already created 58 events, but I think over time this is where you're going to see the biggest evolution of content, is the continuous introduction of new cool events. And so I think by the time we're done, we'll never be done really, but in good time, it's going to be super, super interesting to see how players continue to adapt in this world. So yeah, roots are like, think of like kind of really bring some fantastical elements here, like seriously overgrown. So that opens up new paths, shuts off a lot of things. Wind vortex again is something different, fresh. We really want all of these things to kind of have their own strategies, look, feel. And so lightning strike is not done yet. It's looking super cool. You could probably imagine what that's like. But yeah, we're still trying to work on some skybox lighting and other cool things there. Some amazing VFX though already for it. So yeah, but there's tons of others that have been worked on or in the pipe. So I don't want to, even these three, I don't want to steal any thunder from them. Simply to say that there'll be more interesting content the next time the community play.
I can just confidently say I'm so excited for that consumable that summons lightning. Like I'm just gonna throw them at Connie the entire time, and absolutely just ruin her day, just by just throwing as much lightning as I can at her feet. Especially with the wind guard.
Counter.
Oh, what was that?
So you might find Connie as an interesting counter. So
Yeah, probably.
yeah.
Wind vortexes too. I'm really excited. Like if you're like a platformer enjoyer, like I love playing platformers. You probably know exactly what this is. You jump into the big air, the gust of air that's just coming out of the ground, and just go straight up. So it really changes like the verticality and like how you access things such as height, right? Height advantage. I have the high ground, Anakin. These are the really kind of fun things that change each match. So some people might rely on it too much, but in this case, they gotta learn to adapt, like you said, Mark.
Well, but also all of these, I think what players will discover is all of these can also be used in innovative ways. So, for example, if you think I think most players have experienced the missile strike. Rather than just deploy the missile strike on a competitive team, one of your teammates can actually sit on the rocket and launch into the area. So, I think we're hoping as players explore or try and abuse these events, they'll also create a lot of interesting emergent gameplay.
Oh yeah, I'm so stoked. Okay, so I think we're kind of getting up a little bit on time here. I really want to thank you, Mark, for your time here. I think this was a long time coming that we you just kind of talk a little bit more about what's going on in the world of Ascendant, and things are shaping up so well, guys. Like I'm gushing thinking about how much stuff is shaping up. Actually, you know what? I think I could share one last thing, Mark, before we kind of close out here. It's going to be a little bit about our lobby. So we are introducing a brand new lobby. If you've played our game, you know that the lobby is probably like one of the sickest looking social lobbies you've ever seen. It's got everything from like Miami Vice to disco to like everything about the 80s that you can encompass. But we are doing something new with our lobby. And so we'll just give a quick tease of what this looks like right here. Look at that.
I think actually I'm just thinking, Jay, I think actually this screenshot's probably like 4 weeks old, but
oh my god, yeah, no, you're right. It's super old. Oh man. Yeah, like this is the new lobby, guys, and like as Mark said, it's not even done yet. I am excited to share that insiders will likely get a chance to try this out. It might be a little bit wonky. It's not done yet, but this is something to really look forward to with our upcoming lobby, everyone. So soak it in. New lobby. It's outside. We can finally go touch grass. And what I love most about this is that it feels really connected to the lore because you could see your own home base's Earth tree finally, which was we were able to see it and like next to Gibby, but we weren't able to see the whole thing. So now you can. It looks so sick.
Yeah, you kind of come out of the bunker that we had before.
Yeah. Like there's a whole road to the right side of this image where you'll see how you pretty much leave your lobby or leave the lobby to go to Harmony, prepare to extract some biocores, or it just makes things so significantly more dynamic, and it feels really grounded into the world. So I'm really excited for everyone to try to check this out. All right, but right here, I think we've reached our time, Mark. Thank you again so much. Really appreciate you coming on camera, taking time out of your day.
And, thanks to the community for joining us.
Yeah. Everybody, I guess W's in the chat. I don't know how to close these things out anymore, actually. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us, especially with a little bit of a hiccup we had with streaming on Twitch. But for everyone who came over to YouTube, appreciate it so much. Thank you, everyone, again. Look forward to hearing more about the feature build event this weekend, whether you're a player or you're going to be a viewer. We have creators lined up that are going to be streaming the feature build for us. So if you want to check out all the latest and greatest that's happening that we talked about today, look forward to seeing that this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I think that's, 8 p.m.? BST? I don't really know. I'm so bad. I live in Texas, guys. Don't dox me about that. But I don't know what the UK time is. But other than that, thanks again, everybody. I hope you all have a great rest of y'all's day, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, folks. Thanks again.
Welcome to the post-apocalyptic party we call Harmony. Let's grab that sweet, sweet biocore. And may the most badass motherfucker win.
Hell yeah! We got the biocore.
What the fuck?
Let's rock and roll, baby.
Launch initiated.
Incoming airstrike!
Bang, bang, boys.
Hey, someone get me a bigger can of bug spray.
Shields activated.
Anyone else want a taste?
that.
Biosafety successful.
Oh yeah, like they're gonna need some serious therapy after that.